change everything about the way that I live. And I basically live in hiding. And I can't even walk in a parking lot in the open air. Because getting out of your vehicle is one of the riskiest times for a politician is that when you see people get shot, a lot of times they're, getting out of their vehicle at that time. So I've had to look at how I go to the grocery store. I can't do that anymore, so I have to I can't run errands. Life is just different and it's difficult, but I also signed up for it and I acknowledge that as well. But it doesn't mean that these kinds of threats are okay. No one should live in fear because of their political or religious beliefs.
Can you
Hi,
elaborate?
Congressman.
Go ahead.
Oops, sorry about that. I was just wondering if you could share anything else about the messages that you received from this individual that did threaten you. I don't want to ask you to relive something traumatic, but if you can say anything else about you, did they say a reason for why they were threatening you, or did they say anything else?
I don't, we can go look at, I don't have that in front of me, and the press release might cover that. And if not, we can go back and look. I know that it was a series of text messages and email communication that came through the office last year in 2025. And, I'm just grateful to the FBI for following those leads. A lot of times, we report this stuff all the time, and then just like nothing happens. And so it can be incredibly frustrating. So in this case, I am very, very grateful for the feds for stepping up and pursuing this to the fullest extent of the law. I'm just so grateful for it.
Yeah, the one we had mentioned was the if you stepped outside, but we can go back and see if there's anything else we can share.
Yeah, but it was
as well.
multiple, it was a series of messages.
What was the lag time, or if you could just outline even a broad timeline of when the threats came into the office to when an investigation was launched? And then my second question, I'm sorry for any noise. The second question was, you said that this individual has actually been arrested. What is the name of this person, just so that we can
I don't have it, and I don't have it, but we can get it to you after this. I didn't put it in the press release either. When I drafted the press release, I wanted, at the time, it's been over a month now. We've known for a couple months that this was happening. Wanted to be particularly sensitive to, an investigation and their negotiation or, working with the individual to come to a guilty plea, et cetera. So I was trying to be sensitive to that as well, but it might be something we can give to you on background. So you can go look it up yourself. But I believe it was Indianapolis, Indiana. So this happened but I believe the early to mid part of last year, we found out about the investigation and the arrest and the prosecution towards the end of 2025. And so we wanted it to get a little further along before we said anything about it. As you all know, I've been very outspoken about political violence, and it's just increasingly gotten worse. So you think about it, Caitlin, it's pretty fast on the draw, if you ask me, all things considered.
Right. Anything else? Maybe one more question, if anyone has one.
I do. This is ABC4 in Charleston. It's completely unrelated to this. So if everybody else wants to hop off, or if there are any other questions about this before we move on. Okay. We are talking today about the animal abuse registry that you propose if you become governor. So we know that there are already systems in place in Tennessee and Florida, and those are the only two states. How would you, if elected governor, how would this system be created? Who would be tasked with that?
Well, I think it can be pretty easily done. The state already has the information. So whether it's like on SLED's website or, the court's website, having some kind of a registry with existing data, honestly, it's really just a spreadsheet that is searchable online.
Okay. And then would this be for misdemeanors and felonies, or felonies only?
I would want it to include everything, misdemeanors and felonies. But I would look to, I'm looking to what other states have done. Florida just implemented theirs. I know Tennessee's is pretty new too. And as you all know, there have been a lot of efforts over the years in the state legislature to address animal cruelty. It continues to be a problem in South Carolina, and this is just a small part that can make a big difference.
So there's no framework yet. It's just kind of you're speaking out right now.
No, I believe I drafted the framework and I released it yesterday. I don't have it in front of me.
Okay.
I'm in my federal office, but it was in the news release, a draft of that proposal. I wrote it, so
Okay.
it's in there. And I'm a huge animal rights person. I've done a plethora of animal rights work, and in fact, just in the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, I just got a ban on animal testing at the Department of War authorized in the final NDAA. That's never been done before. That is historic. And so I've done a lot of work with animal rights groups. This is an issue where I've worked with both sides of the aisle on. I'm probably the most pro animal rights member in the Republican Party. Me and Brian Fitzpatrick are the two most animal rights folks within the United States Congress. And so I want to bring many of those ideas down to the state level.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you everyone for hopping on today. If you have any questions, you can just reach out to me. Like I said, I'm about to send out the press release giving some of the details that we talked about today. And then Caitlin, I will work on getting that stuff for you. And I believe it was Adrian who asked about the messages. So I will work on.
We'll take that stuff to at ABC4 if you have a name
Okay.
and more details.
Well,
Thank you.
Yeah, I want to be sensitive to it, so we might give it to you on background, but at least you can go.
Sure.
Go find it or whatever. I just want to be sensitive to that because they're still working through sentencing.
Okay, perfect. Thank
All
you
right,
guys.
thank you guys.